If you're thinking about buying a home in Las Vegas, there are 7 critical issues you need to know about before you make an offer.
From HOA traps to soaring energy bills to deadly summer heat and hidden solar costs, thousands of buyers are getting caught off guard every year, and some of them losing tens of thousands of dollars in the process.
In this video, we're breaking down the biggest problems blindsiding Las Vegas homeowners and exactly how to protect yourself before it's too late. The HOA trap. The number one thing catching buyers off guard in Las Vegas right now isn't interest rates or home prices, it's the HOAs. And if you're buying here, chances are you're dealing with at least one.
In a lot of cases, it's 2 or even 3 HOAs stacked up on top of each other, meaning you'll have multiple HOAs, and also 75% of all the homes in Las Vegas reside in an HOA community.
Almost every newer neighborhood in the valley comes with multiple layers of HOAs, especially in places like Henderson and Summerlin.
Monthly HOA fees in Las Vegas could range anywhere from about $40 a month in neighborhoods that are a little bit older, simpler, don't have those big grandiose amenities, and then it could go to $300 in a guard-gated community with a little bit more luxury, or maybe a swimming pool, roaming security. For context, the national median is around $135 a month, so we're definitely on the higher side here in Vegas. But there's a part that catches people completely off guard. It's not just the monthly fees, it's the fining system.
So Nevada law allows HOAs to fine you up to $100 per violation, or a total of $1,000, whichever is less. That doesn't sound too bad, right? But there's a catch. If you don't fix the issue within 14 days, it turns into what's called a continuing violation. That means the HOA can start adding new fines every 7 days. And each new fine can be as much as the first one, but there's no limit to how much you can end up owing. That's right, there's no cap.
So the point is, a small thing like leaving out your trash cans too long, or having a few weeds in your front yard, or even like leaving your garage door open at night can snowball into thousands of dollars of fines if you don't take care of those fines quickly.
And you better keep an eye on this. CC&Rs, that stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. It's a long list of rules about what you can and can't do with your property, such as paint colors, landscaping choices, where you can park, what decorations you can even put up, and whether or not you can rent your home.
Definitely. One of those major things that we deal with as real estate agents here is people that are renting their home or buying their home to rent it as an investment have to frequently ask us, does this have a rental restriction? And we have to dive through the documents of the HOA's CC&Rs list to figure out whether or not you can or can't. So sometimes you have to even have a wait list to determine whether or not you're able to rent your home. So that's another thing to think about with these CC&Rs that you should be looking for. You think you're buying your dream home, but you're also getting to follow this like rule book that gives the HOA the power to fine you and place liens on your property even, or in the worst case scenario, foreclose on your house.
And remember, HOA costs are just one piece of the puzzle.
Now, if we haven't met yet, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Vicky.
And we've been helping buyers navigate the Las Vegas market for over 2 decades. And we started this channel because we got tired of watching people get blindsided by problems that are completely avoidable.
So if you want the insider knowledge that protects you from expensive mistakes, hit that subscribe button. We've got way more coming your way. Next, we're diving into something that's spreading across the market and hitting buyers in ways they never saw coming.
Budget LLC flips. Here's something almost nobody's talking about right now. Investors are buying up homes in Las Vegas faster than most other places in the country, and it's starting to cause a serious quality problem. Investor purchases here have jumped by nearly 28% in just the third quarter of 2024, the biggest increase in the entire country.
That's over $1 billion worth of homes snapped up by investors in only 3 months. And a lot of those investors are LLCs buying houses just to flip them fast for profit. Now, the problem here is when the goal is speed and making money, quality almost always takes a hit. We see it all the time. You walk into what looks like a really nice remodel and everything's shiny and new until you look closer. Cheap materials, brushed work, and cosmetic fixes covering up real issues underneath.
But it's not just small time flippers cutting corners. Even some of the big national builders are making some huge mistakes too. So if you're thinking about buying new or buying expensive guarantees quality, it doesn't. This matters because even $1 million homes aren't safe from construction disasters.
If you've been assuming new automatically means better, this is your wake-up call. And all of this gets even worse with the desert climate, and that's what we're diving into next. Desert air and dust damage and sun damage.
The desert doesn't just test your patience, it beats your house up every single day of the year. The sun, the dust, and those big temperature swings all work together to wear down your home faster than you'd ever expect. During the dry, windy months, the entire valley can be blanketed in dust and pollen, and the fine desert dust gets everywhere, and it's rough on your HVAC system. Local repair techs say Vegas dust is some of the hardest in the country. It clogs air filters, coats coils, and wears out motors.
And when that happens, your system has to work harder and run longer, which drives up your energy bills. Nevada now ranks second in the nation for the biggest summer power bill spikes, but I'll go over this later. Also, the UV rays here are relentless. They break down roofs, exterior paint, and window seals, and they do it way faster than in cooler and cloudier places.
Even your furniture and artwork inside can get damaged if it's getting a lot of direct sunlight through the windows.
And there's the temperature swings. It can be over 100 degrees during the day and drop 40 degrees at night. The constant expansion and contraction makes material shift and crack.
Desert climate demands constant upkeep, whether your home is brand new or resale.
Understanding how this environment affects your house is what protects you from expensive surprises down the road. And speaking of unexpected costs, there's another one catching everyone off guard right now. Insurance. Home insurance premiums in Nevada are climbing fast, and there's no sign of them slowing down, unfortunately. A recent report found that premiums here went up a total of 23.7% between 2019 and 2024. That is a big jump.
But it gets worse. In 2025 alone, major insurers like State Farm and Lemonade were approved for another round of rate increases of about 9.94 and 10.5%, affecting over 200,000 Nevadans. So if you think your insurance quote at closing was going to stay stable, think again. And this just isn't happening in Nevada, it's across the country. Homeowners are seeing the same trend. The surprising part, the biggest cause of insurance losses isn't hurricanes or wildfires. It's wind and hail, the same types of storms that we get right here in Las Vegas in the desert.
The bottom line is insurance costs are now unpredictable, unfortunately, and for buyers on tighter budgets, even a 20% increase can completely throw off your financial plan. But as tough as these insurance spikes, they are nothing compared to what you will be paying to keep your home cool once summer hits.
Yep, that's right. We're talking about energy bills in the summertime.
If you think your electric bill is high now, just wait until summer hits in Las Vegas. It's not a small bump either. We're not talking about an extra $50 or $100. We're talking about bills that can blow your budget completely out of the water. So last year, out of all the states in the country, Nevada ranks second for the biggest jump in summer electric bills.
On average, residents were paying about $100 more every month during the summer, pushing the total electricity cost to around $680 per month. If you live in a 2-bedroom apartment, you might see bills closer to like $275, $300 in the summer. But if you're in a large house and you have a pool, multiple refrigerators, lots of electronics and appliances, you could easily hit $600, $700, $800, and mega multi-mil mansions are in the thousands. Another thing that people don't really consider when they're coming from a significantly cooler climate is how in Las Vegas during these peak summer months, the exterior air temperature is so high. Like the coldest it might get is in the 90s some nights. You got a 115 high and then an 89 low. It's still so warm that you need to keep the air conditioner on throughout the entirety of the night. So whereas people in other places in the summer might turn their AC on during the hot hours of the day for a few hours of the day or just the entirety of the day, us Nevadans or Las Vegans have to keep our AC on 24/7 for months on end because it's so hot during the day and the nighttime. So your bill and AC system is running significantly more than anyone else's in the United States. Imagine trying to keep your home cool because you like being a polar bear.
And for elderly homeowners or anyone with health issues, that choice can actually become dangerous. At that point, it's not just about comfort, it's about a real health risk. You'll definitely want to keep this in mind when we talk about the climate and health later, because the connection between AC costs and health problems is something every buyer moving here needs to understand.
Now, there's some good news. If you buy in an energy efficient home, your bills will not be nearly as bad. Newer homes, especially those built in the last 5 to 10 years, are usually better. They have better insulation, dual pane windows, and modern HVAC systems that use a lot less electricity that can make a huge difference on your monthly costs. These energy costs are not just seasonal, they're year-round expenses. For people moving from colder places, this could be like $400, $600 a month shock you were just not expecting or prepared for.
And there's some new builds now that actually include solar as part of the sale of your home.
To help mitigate your electrical bills, it's nice that they do that.
And now that you know how expensive it is to keep your home cool, wait until you hear why solar might not actually be the solution everyone says it is.
Solar energy and all of its misconceptions.
Now that we have talked about how high energy bills can get in the summer, the next question we always hear is, should I just get solar? And honestly, it sounds like the perfect solution. Las Vegas gets about 310 sunny days a year, so it kind of feels like a no-brainer. But here's what we've seen after helping hundreds of buyers. In most cases, solar is not the simple fix people think that it is.
The costs, the contracts, the fine print are a lot more complicated than they look. The average solar setup in Vegas is about 7.2 kilowatt system costs around $20,000, $30,000 before incentives. After you apply 30% federal tax credit, you still are paying around $14,000 to $20,000 out of pocket, and that's just an average size system. If you want one big enough to completely cover your family's energy costs, then the expense for that system is going to jump real fast.
If you get, for example, a total system that costs more than $48,000, even with a tax credit, it would take almost 11 years of savings before you actually start seeing a return. So solar can make sense if you're planning to stay in your home for at least a decade. But if you're thinking about moving in 5 or 7 years, you'll probably never recover what you spent.
And that brings us to the biggest trap of all when it comes to solar, is solar leases and power purchase agreements, or as we call them, PPAs. These are third-party deals that advertise no upfront cost, which sounds amazing, but what they don't tell you is that you are signing a contract that can lock you in for 20, 25, or 30 years. And then when you go to sell your home, you find out that it has a lease or a power payment agreement on it, and that contract doesn't go away. It has to be transferred to the new buyer, and they have to qualify for that.
And in certain cases, depending on how soon you're selling your home, you may in fact have to pay back that tax incentive as well.
Yeah, so they tell you, hey, why don't you throw this $40,000 system on your roof and you'll save some money on your power bills every couple months with our power payment agreement. And then all of a sudden you go to sell your house and they're like, oh, you can't take this off. And if that buyer can't qualify for it, then you need to pay for it out of your proceeds of your sale. And no one wants to now just stroke a check for $30,000 to pay off a solar system that they're about to stop using forever and give to the buyer as a new benefit. Now, if it helps you sell your home, that's fine. But more importantly, you have to make sure you're aware of these types of contracts because they lock you in for years.
If you own the solar systems, your home's value can actually boost by about 4%, but with leased ones, that can be the total opposite. Solar leases are not energy solutions. They are 25-year financial commitments that can make it harder to sell your home. So definitely make sure that you read the contracts and you feel comfortable and confident if you decide to move forward with solar.
And another thing, we want to make it perfectly clear that when you are buying a system outright, that can add great value to your home, like we mentioned. However, you have to also take into accommodation that if you're getting a panel set that's, say, $50,000, your home may not appraise for $50,000 more dollars. So I want to make it clear that you don't get dollar for dollar return on a paid out solar system. Doesn't mean that it's a bad investment. There's millions of people that put swimming pools into their houses for $70,000 for it to only be worth $20,000 more over the next exact same house comparable without a swimming pool. So obviously, just like a pool, you don't get all the money out that you put in. Same with the owned solar system. However, if you are selling and a buyer does see owned solar system, no energy bills in the summer, that's a great selling point and they would like that. But just remember, it's not going to be dollar in, dollar out. You might lose a little bit of money on that investment.
And as serious as those financial traps are, they're nothing compared to the health risks we're about to cover next.
Climate and health effects. The desert climate here isn't just uncomfortable, it's becoming a serious public health problem that gets worse every year. In 2024, there were 513 heat-related deaths, a 73% increase from 2023. Since 2020, the death rate from heat has more than tripled, going from 4.1 to 15 deaths per 100,000 residents. And half of those deaths happen on days when the temperatures hit 110 degrees or higher. But the truly shocking part is 48% of those deaths were not homeless. That means that these people died in their own houses. These are people who had shelter, but their air conditioning failed, or they couldn't afford to run it, or maybe they just didn't realize how dangerous the heat really was.
People between 45 and 64 years old are the ones with the highest risk. They made up 42% of all heat-related deaths, and the danger season lasts a lot longer than people realize. We're not just talking July and August, it stretches from April through November.
That's more than half of the year where extreme heat can be deadly. For people who work outdoors, the risk does not end when the sun goes down. When someone spends long periods of time in the sun, they're more likely to develop chronic kidney disease. So if you're working outdoors, you're not just risking heat stroke, you're also putting your long-term health on the line.
The climate here is not just something you get used to, it's something you really have to actually plan for. Whether you are young and healthy or caring for older family members, understanding how to protect yourself from the desert heat is essential.
And another thing I always think about, if you are really not good with allergies, come spend some time in the desert during the windier seasons or pollen season, April, May, June, and see how it affects you. And if you're like, I can handle this desert pollen, then that's great. For some people, they come here and they find out that it only gets harder to deal with later as they go on.
And now that you've seen all 7 of the biggest issues that blindside Vegas homeowners, let's walk you through exactly how to protect yourself from every single one.
Now, here's how you can protect yourself from every single one of these issues. First, when it comes to HOAs, request and read the CC&Rs before you make the offer. Look specifically at the fine print for like fee schedules, fines, and about future assessments. That's another thing that shocks people, along with SIDS and LIDs too. You might be buying in Summerlin in a new community and find out there's a $20,000 bill that you got to pay off twice a year. So if the HOA has been deferring maintenance or there are major projects coming up, you could be hit with a special assessment that adds thousands of dollars to your costs. Make sure you know exactly and understand what you're signing up for, because once you close, you're locked in.
If the HOA seems overly restrictive or financially unstable, just walk away. It's not worth the headache.
And for those budget flips and construction quality, always hire a third-party home inspector, even if you're buying brand new. Get someone who has nothing to do with the builder or the seller, and make sure they check everything: the foundation, the structure, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC systems. And if you don't have those people readily available, Vicky and I do. And so we're happy to refer those to you to make sure that you have the best tier or quality of people inspecting your property. So if you're buying a flip, slow down and really look at those details. Take note, because all those red flags, fresh paint covering everything, mismatched tiles or flooring, permits that don't line up with the work being done. Ask for receipts and warranties from any major updates. And it's worth considering a home warranty that covers your structural issues, because once you close, any of those problems become your problem.
For desert damage, you'll need to plan more frequent roof repairs, repainting your exterior every 5 to 7 years instead of every 10. You'll also need regular HVAC service. It's not optional here. If you skip maintenance, the repair costs pile up fast. When you're checking out homes, look at the roof age, ask when was the last time they painted the exterior, find out how often the HVAC has been serviced. If you do this, you may save yourself from paying for all that deferred maintenance the minute you move in.
Now, for insurance. Get an insurance quote before you even make an offer on your home. And if you don't have the right home, pick one and think of like a hypothetical example that they can use to tell you what the insurance costs would be. Don't wait until you're under contract. Ask your insurance agent specifically about wind and hail coverage and flood zone designators and coverage related to damage caused by the heat. The last thing you want is to buy a home, budget for one insurance cost, and then get hit with a 20 or 30% increase the next year with no way out of it. And we've seen some clients deal with this.
Fifth, for energy bills, when you're house hunting, do not just take the seller's word for it. Ask for a full year of utility bills. Look specifically at July and August to see what they actually paid. That is going to tell you exactly what you're walking into and give you a really good idea. Also, check if the home has energy saving features. Does it have a radiant barrier in the attic? That's a reflective material that blocks heat from radiating down into your home, and it's a huge help for energy efficiency. Dual pane windows. How old is the HVAC system? And what is the efficiency rating? Those details might sound small, but they will directly affect what you pay every summer.
If you're buying a home with solar panels, ask right away whether they're owned or leased or on a PPA. If they are leased or on a PPA, get a copy of the contract and actually read it. If you're thinking about adding solar to your home, do the math first. Don't find out later. I don't want to say scammed, but we've had plenty of people find themselves in negative experiences that they could have deterred or avoided. And if it's less than 10 years, it's probably not worth it.
And the seventh, for climate and health, take the heat seriously. Invest in a reliable HVAC system and budget for the high energy costs to keep your home cool. If your AC fails during the summer, it's not just uncomfortable, it could actually be life-threatening. So have a backup plan, whether that's a portable AC unit or knowing where the nearest cooling centers are.
And for the allergies, invest in a high quality air purifier for your home. Make sure your insulation on your home is really great. The older homes have aluminum windows where dust kind of gets through them, whereas now with the newer ones, not so much dust gets into the house. You could also consider getting tinted vinyl windows to help block the UV rays to help reduce heat buildup, and learn what plants trigger your allergies so you can avoid them in your landscaping and where you live.
Las Vegas is an amazing place to call home, but only if you go in prepared.
Every single trap we just covered is completely avoidable when you know what to look for and work with agents who've seen it all before.
If you're serious about buying in Las Vegas and want to avoid these expensive mistakes, reach out to us right now. Email us at kyle@kylesimonsteam.com. We'll walk you through every property, flag these issues before you even make an offer, and make sure you're protected from day one.
Don't wait until you're under contract and it's way too late. And speaking of homes you should avoid, there are 8 specific types of properties in Las Vegas that could turn your dream home into a financial disaster. We break all 8 red flags down in that video and show you what to look for in this video right here. Check it out. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Vicky, your Las Vegas real estate guide. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.